Alright, Poke friends, we're back. Something a little different. Not really something I've seen anybody do on YouTube, but I think I occupy a slightly different space than most PokeTubers. So today we're going to look at my league winning decks. If I cannot knock the stand over. So I've been playing for a year, competitive, and in that year I've won 4 times out of probably 100 or so matches. I mean nights, not matches. 100 or so game nights. So that's like 400 matches total, probably, give or take. And out of those times, these are the 4 decks that I managed to come in first. And then I don't have any second places. I believe I have 3 third places. I think, which is weird, I think 4 fourth places, and maybe only 3 fourth places too, around there. And then a bunch of 5th and 6th. And we usually have 10 to up to 30 on a challenge. So I'm usually top 10 at least. But actually usually top 5. If I try hard. The last couple of times I just been bullshitting, like I'm hanging out at the bar or the pub or something. And not really trying that hard. But this deck is special, my Marnie deck, because this is the one that I got first place with first. And I always hook up my winning decks. This is my Cynthia's Garchomp. I think it's my favorite just because it's, when it works, it's just so fun and so powerful, and I can just see the people's faces like trying to figure out what it's nasty. And then this is also a lot of fun. My Mamoswine Pidgeot Monkey Dory. This also, once you start mammoth hauling and quick search, you can tell people they basically gave up. And this is just before I even knew really anything. I just liked Torterra, so I built this, and then I went back and modded it after what I learned from League, and it hits, but it doesn't. It's way slow. It's just tanky. It's slow, but it's fun, and I like Torterra. That's what I think the most important thing is. Use a Pokemon you like. So, of course, I'm on it now. So these 3 decks all have something in common. They're all stage 2 Pokemon as their main attacker, and also they can all build quickly. But before we get to that, I'll show you the most important thing to winning at League deck is your draw. So at League deck, at League challenges, at League nights, etc. is the draw. So what gives you a good draw? A good shuffle. So on my stage 2 decks, I like to do, for lack of better words, 6 piles. And you spread them out, top, bottom. Alright, now you have your 6 piles started. And you want to make sure, this is important, I've tried it multiple ways. You want to make sure this pile shuffles into this one, then this one into this one, and this one into this one. I've tried it randomly, I've tried it other ways. Bring this one down, bring them down. When you get your piles, bring it down. I'll show you when I get there. You'll bring it down, then this will be the bottom, middle, top. Then you shuffle from there. And then you just keep until you get it. Alright. You want to make sure you do it in an order. I obviously messed up somewhere or I'm missing a card. Alright, it looks like I messed up because I got 60 here. I should have got 60 here. That's not going to ruin the shuffle though. But that's definitely not what you want. So, like I was saying, here, bring it down. Bring this one down. And always make sure your cards are facing the same way. And you bring this one down, alright? Remember, this was your first pile. So it'll be top, middle, bottom. Now you're ready to shuffle. This is what you do when you first, once you get to League, you sign up, you pay if you have to, make your pleasantries, then sit down and do this. You do that. Now your deck is ready to sit down with your opponent. Once you sit down with your opponent, you need to shuffle a minimum of 5 times, but 7 to 11 times is what the league calls for an official. So there you go. And then obviously we don't want to tear up our cards, because I don't know about you guys, but on my deck builds, I like them to look nice. So when we're shuffling them, I probably threw off the piles, but that ain't a big deal because this is all theory right now. Doesn't matter what it does. So you want to hold it loosely and take the back. Make sure this is the back, and you drop it in lightly. You don't do that. It's not a big deal if you do, but. And then these sleeves, you won't believe how quickly you'll go through sleeves. I just put these on and they're already not that good, but that's what you do. You take the back, hold it loosely, and then they'll drop right in. And you do that at least 7 times. And then sometimes I do this where I take it. That's a little more advanced for my card playing days. But if you stick with this 5 to 7 times, you should be good. And now let's do a mock draw and see how that worked out for us. Okay, so we've shuffled, and now in theory this would be opponent cutting. That's fine. And then we get our first 7. Let's see what it did for us. Alright, see, this is an excellent start for the most part. Well, we didn't get one thing we wanted, but we have a starter. And then let's get our prize cards and see what our draw would be. Oops. Yeah, this is a little awkward moving around here. Alright, so we'll draw per turn. Alright, you see, this is not ideal. This is not ideal hand. But what we do have, alright, if we go second, this is what I might do. Normally you don't want this in till the end. But you don't ever, one thing I've learned is if you have another Pokemon to put down and it's the second round and you're not going to be attacking or knocking out anybody, and it's something small like this, make sure you put something on your bench, because I've lost like 3 times like that and it's infuriating, especially when you could have stopped it. So this would be my strategy. This is a late game card, so sadly I'm going to probably attach per turn and retreat because I don't want to risk losing that. And then put that up, and now I can't attach, but hopefully next round I can rare candy to Garchomp, and now it's game on. So that was a decent, okay, like that's like the bare minimum start, but you need to be able to be hitting in the second round. So, and have your stage 2, which I was going to have the stage 2 and still be hitting, but that wasn't ideal. Now let me show you guys how a League deck should run. Alright, I'm just going to set it up and show you. Like, ideally, so you'd want something like this. You'd want something like Monkey Dory on bench and maybe a Gibble. That's your initial draw. And you have a fighting energy, and then what you're going to need is, this is the most important, one of the most important things to make this run right. You need Arven. That's your first guy you want, is Arven. So you Arven, this is why you want to go second. So you Arven for Poffins, or any search card you might have. If you run a Precious Trolley, even better. Not Earthen Vessel. There, right behind it. So you'd want to go for the Poffins, and then this is the most important thing right here. This is what's going to put you in the game and make you win and make your opponent sad. And this is going to work exactly like the same for this. And almost exactly for both of these. You can do very similar tricks with the cards inside. So now you've Arvin, you got the TM Evo, you'll attach this per turn, you'll attach the Evo, Poffins, and this is how you would Poffins. You Poffins for another Gibble and Rosalia. Okay, now this is all, keep in mind, you're going second, and this is all going to happen in the first round. And this is easy to accomplish with this deck. So now you're going to want a TM Evo, and that lets you search for an evolution. And usually the worst thing that's going to happen is you might lose one of these Gabites. You're going to Evo for Gabite. Gabite. Now it's your opponent's turn. Hopefully they have nothing, but even worst case scenario, they boss up a Gabite and knock it out. So now this is your bench. This is what you have to work with. Alright, you bring up the Gabite, and who knows what you have in your hand. You might have other things, but bare minimum, you Champion's Call to this, and now you're in it. So this keeps you in the game and gets you hitting hard quickly, and that's basically my league winning strategy. And this deck will do that with Spike Mouth. You TM Evo and then Spike Mouth, and then this deck can do that with Mammoth Hauler. It's a little more complicated, but once it starts going, it also can search for a lot more and do more. Now, there's also a few cards that are mandatory for any league deck, in my opinion, and some people might think other ones. That TM Evo, gotta, Arvin, have to have them. Boss's Orders, always run 3. Some kind of stadium, because everybody's running a stadium now almost. And let me tell you, your stadium might not help you, but their stadium is helping them or hurting you. So get rid of it. And this also stops Pidgeots and stuff, fan rotoms, etc. Definitely a good ace spec. Crispin. Night Stretcher, Iono, and Counter Catcher. These, in my opinion right here, are the most important cards to play on almost any league deck. And if you don't have them, you're probably not going to do well. This helps you control your opponent's hand. This brings Pokemon back. This lets you attach 2 energies per turn. I can't even tell you how important this is. This lets you switch out and play the supporter at the same time if you get behind. And like I said, part of the plan is losing a basic to get this built. Hopefully not the first one, but like I just showed you, if you have this and they took out your first Gabite or Gibble, now you can probably stop them from building, and you have a Garchomp. And it's gonna be game. One of the most important things I learned though is your opponent always has the card that you don't want them to have almost every time. So play like that is the case, and that goes right into the next. Play like every round is the last round, because your hand is subject to change not at your own free will, but by your opponents. There's multiple cards that can make that happen. So that sweet move you're planning for the next round, also plan on it being disrupted. But the final thing, and this might even be the last lesson I learned also, is try and have fun. I know losing isn't fun, but you can still have fun if you lost. And part of that is make sure you use a deck and Pokemon that you like, because the winning will be better and the losing will be easier to take. And just get back in the lab, see what we can find, build your decks, and play Pokemon. Thanks for watching.